What's up, Pop Culture Universe? Welcome back to another episode review of the Bad Batch series, which is on Disney Plus. This episode is episode 6, a review of episode 6. This episode is called Decommissioned. I'll be the host for this episode. My name is Bogz. My co-host on this side is Sol. How you doing today, Sol?
Doing good. Watched this episode this morning, so it's a little late for me watching Bad Batch. I usually watch it right when it dropped or the day of, but been pretty busy this weekend and been on record watch these past few weeks, and I'm a little worried.
Yeah, and that was kind of the main outcome, I thought, of the episode was that kind of Wrecker's whole situation. We actually saw what is going on there, and that's the biggest takeaway. And I thought, and the kind of mystery character at the end, they were the two biggest takeaways. But overall, what are your just general thoughts on the episode?
It was a very exciting episode. I liked it a lot. It definitely upped the ante from the last 2 weeks, because I know it was a little bit slower the last 2 weeks, and so it seemed much more exciting, even though it was another go to another planet, do a mission kind of thing. But it was interesting. We also got to see some characters from the last season of the Clone Wars come in, and it was an exciting episode. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I agree. It was kind of as you said, like it started off really strong. First and second episode, I felt like it has dipped the last couple of weeks, but it's not reached the heights as the first and second episode. I'm sure it will, but just as of right now, it has been a better episode than the last few weeks, at least. Let's get into it. So, episode starts off with Omega training with her crossbow. Sid, the character from last week, kind of comes over and shows how kind of strong and well trained she is with that, which is put in her place a bit, that she needs a bit more practice, of course. But Sid also reveals that there's a new to the Bad Batch of a new operation, and that they head to Corellia and to find a tactical droid, as that is just kind of a mission that they've been assigned to. So anyone that doesn't know, obviously a tactical droid has been seen in the Clone Wars several times, and in Star Wars Rebels. It can gain control of a whole army of droids. They are more it's where they learn faster than regular droids, and they're kind of they assign all types of droids, tactically where to be, and like organizing, and that's the kind of type of clone it is, and they're trying to obtain that. Not 100% sure what for as of right now, but it's just because we're not sure. Okay, they want to obtain an army. Is it for them? Is it for someone else? Sid's a bit of a suspect character at this point. So what do you think of the overall beginning of the episode, and what are Sid's intentions and the overall mission that they've been given?
With the tactical droid, each time they fight in a battle, they learn from the battle, and they've learned kind of how to defeat the clones or get close to defeating the clones. And in that point, having a tactical droid is very important, especially since now the Empire has this clone army that is turning into stormtroopers. We're getting that transition there. So to have a tactical droid that knows a little bit how to defeat them would be really important for any person in the galaxy. Like they said, it makes them more valuable than before. What I found interesting too is later on in the episode, it's not just the tactical droids, but it's other droids getting melted down too. It's probably because they're not needed, because you have the clones now.
Yeah, and on top of that, we don't know what are they doing that for? Like, why do they need these droids? They haven't, Sid didn't kind of say anything. Who's Sid working for? What's the kind of intention there? So
is she still working for the Hutts, or is it something else?
Yeah, is she being hired by someone else? And obviously droids are, especially a tactical droid, is kind of majorly experienced in fighting against clones and their kind of fight patterns and things like that. So I did find that interesting. But the Bad Batch arrive at Corellia. They sneak into a droid factory where they are, like you said, they're smelting. It's like a smelting facility, so they're destroying droids and stuff. Echo confirms that there's only one tactical droid left. It's obtained or spotted by Omega, but she sees someone kind of beat them to it. So she kind of someone picks it up and kind of runs off, and they find kind of find out soon after that it's Rafa and Trace, who are the Martez sisters from Clone Wars season 7. So they started off the kind of first 4 episodes of that last season. They worked with Ahsoka, and then everyone kind of teams up at first point to fight against the droids that who kind of spot them in the factory, and then Wrecker kind of bumps his head. At this point, now, first he has a couple of issues with heights. We see, so that's his kind of his weakness. But then, yeah, he bumps his head, and we see his head pain is getting worse and worse. And then he kind of subconsciously or kind of half faints and says, you know, the line, the Order 66 line, "Good soldiers follow orders." He's shot by a droid, and then like passes out, falls unconscious, and we hear Crosshair saying "Good soldiers follow orders," like it's being kind of mandated onto him. It's creeping into his consciousness. So the chip is kind of overtaking his mind slowly. So overall thoughts on the Martinez sisters showing up, and of course Wrecker, poor guy with his whole head trauma issue.
I actually, out of all the people from the Clone Wars that I expected to possibly show up in this show, I never guessed the Martez sisters. So it's cool to see Rafa and Trace in it. And just the fact, I was like, it makes sense that they're a little bit shady, not actually shady, but a little bit. And then the Bad Batch are now having to be a little shady too, because they're they're working for Sid, who is definitely shady. Sid's shady. Calling it now. And so it makes sense that they would team up together in this episode. Wrecker, man, he needs to stop hitting his head. Like every episode, he's hitting his head, and he's hitting his head right on the spot, the same spot each time. And I'm just like, oh, he's okay. He's okay. The next episode, he hit his head, but he's okay. But this time, we got the "Good soldiers follow orders," and I was like, oh no. But it seemed too like Wrecker was fighting it, and I think that's why he passed out too, is because Wrecker was very much fighting this chip, which makes me think, has he been fighting it this entire time and just not saying anything to his brothers? Or is this just a this episode thing? So I want to know how they're going to handle it. If whenever we might see another Jedi, maybe Ahsoka later on in the show, if he automatically goes to wanting to kill her or kill a Jedi. If we'll get to Rex first to get that chip out of him beforehand. So I'm very intrigued on what's going to happen with Wrecker, because he got back to normal by the end of the episode, but something's not okay with him. And I'm still on Wrecker watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And we finally got to see what is going to happen if he hits it hard enough, or what is creeping in. It was finally confirmation that, you know, he's falling in line with the other troopers. And then Hunter then has to save Omega. She kind of gets stuck on a conveyor belt. Wrecker finally wakes up and
very
connects
Attack of
back.
the Clones.
Absolutely, yeah, and connects back with the other Bad Batch crew and the sisters, Martinez sisters. Martez.
Martez.
Yeah, and they kind of join up and helping kind of destroy the droids. And you just see kind of, I thought it was interesting just to see how effective and efficient Wrecker is, whether it's physically or shooting people. And it's like, I thought it was a bit of a foreshadowing thing, like, oh, if he's this effective against droids, what's he going to be like if he turns? And is he going to be like this against the other Bad Batch guys, or his own men, kind of thing? But like similar to Crosshair, for example, unless, you know, they see Rex first and he can save them or something along them lines. But they kind of rewrite the command droid's head. Obviously, they have the physical head that they rewrite it and stuff. And the droids arrive around them, and because they want to try and control the other droids to try and stop them from attacking the Bad Batch and the sisters. So there's a lot of B1 and super battle droids, which are obviously throughout the prequels, which is nice to see them back. So I also love that there's a sort of joke in there of one of the sisters saying, "Oh, is there an Echo in here?" And he pops in like, "Oh yeah, hi." She's like, "What? Like, what do you mean?" Yeah. So I bet Filoni's been waiting on that joke for years to use that. So finally if he's not used it before. And then the sisters kind of talk to the Bad Batch about a contact has sent them to fight the Empire. sent them to Corellia to stand up against the Empire. So I think this is early sprinklings again of the rebellion. What the whole kind of series is built upon, the transition of the rebellion or to the Republic to the Empire. So this is kind of early sprinklings. I feel like fighting against the Empire already. It's only, I don't know how long it's been since Order 66. Weeks, a month, or 2 months, I don't know. But yeah, overall thoughts on the on Hunter kind of joining up with showing his strength, waking up and kind of shaking the 66 situation, or shaking his chip, affecting him off, and then seeing all the other droids, and then because from that point onwards, it felt like just an action thing for the rest of the series, which is good. So this was like the second half of it, escaping from Corellia, escaping from the factory, using the command droid, and then kind of the sisters talking about, we're doing this to stand up against the Empire.
Yeah, that was the most interesting part here is between Trace and Rafa. Trace going, we need to do a distraction. And then Rafa going, we need to have a distraction. Does someone hear an echo here? Goes, I'm right here. That part was that was funny and definitely like a childlike kind of joke, but it got me. I giggled.
Definitely. I think I laughed out loud. And it it's such a silly joke. Yeah.
I was like, this is so dumb, but yet I love it so much. And the fact too that, okay, they're working with someone, we don't know who the Martez sisters are working with, but they're working with someone to make things better for the galaxy. They're trying to help people. And so I'm trying to think of like who they could be teaming up now. And I'm like, where's Cassian Andor at this time? Has he joined the rebellion yet? Will we see them maybe in his show? Because that would be interesting, especially too, because like, even though there's no like Latin American, Latino like planet or anything, but like Cassian, he's played by a Latino. You assume that Rafa and Trace are both Latino because their last names are Martez. So that would be cool to see even more Latinos if they match up together. So I really was thinking more of like, what's the possibilities? Who are they teaming up with? Who are they working for? They definitely sound very much like the rebellion, just trying to help people.
Yeah, I've got a theory on that, but I'll save that to the end. But yeah, and then like I said, the last half of the episode is very action heavy, which is, I think I did definitely enjoy that more, because the last couple episodes have been, it's like the action has been sprinkled in on a side mission. So it's like, yeah, okay, it's fine, but this is more, okay, this felt more relevant to the story, this overall episode and the plot, not massively, but it felt like, okay, they're obtaining these droids for a reason, or the command droid for a reason, which they're going to use, or someone else is going to use. So bringing the sisters in and that kind of thing. So it did feel like a bit more, I was a bit more invested in this episode as opposed to the last couple. And then Hunter, we see his kind of conflict at the girls telling him that they're already fighting against the Empire. He's kind of baffled at the clones turning. I feel like he's still baffled at the clones turning in the whole Order 66 situation, living through that, seeing them turn on the Jedi, the crosshair situation. They're still all up in the air, all these unresolved issues. So the whole kind of Omega issue's got so many other things that he's finding that balance, basically. So he's that he's heard their story, and he's kind of gave the sisters it's like some kind of intel, it's like a, I don't know, it's like a port thing, like an intel like that they give the sisters to basically use that for their fight, as opposed to Sid and their kind of potentially selfish reasons or ideas he doesn't know about, but he feels like that is more a worthy cause as opposed to what they've been assigned to do. So the sisters then board the ship and they speak to R7 to contact somebody. So R7 is of course Ahsoka's droid. So from there, we don't know if it's is Ahsoka involved in this? Is Rex involved in this? Is just kind of a nice tie-in to finish off the episode, I felt. But yeah, either way, yeah, like I said, where they set was sent by Ahsoka? Is she with Rex? As in, is Ahsoka with Rex? And then
Is
we
she
see kind of
Fulcrum yet?
yeah, and we see it kind of a figure at the end. You know, they announce on a hologram to kind of talk to. They say him. We see kind of a side profile of that person. We don't know who it is. And then yeah, they. So my thoughts on that. My theory is that it could be. Well, they also they explain when Hunter hands over the intel, he didn't want to give it to the wrong hands, or didn't want to fall that into the wrong hands. So because they don't know who's hired Sid, of course, and they need or what the droid army is for. So yeah, I just felt like the wrong hands is. I thought that was an interesting interpretation of it. But yeah, like indicating like, oh, okay, Sid can't be trusted, or maybe foreshadowing it. But yeah, anyway, is that person? I think it's potentially Bail Organa. You know, he's at this point the kind of main figurehead in fighting against the Empire. You know, he's also Latino, as in the original, you know, character. You know, the actor that plays him, and that kind of coincides with other characters who rebel, such as the Martez sisters or possibly Cassie and Endor. That'd be a nice tie-in, I feel. Like them are working together. So plus obviously maybe Ahsoka, maybe Rex. It could be one of them too. It looked like some kind of robe or some kind of like expensive garment, like you can see the person wearing. Couldn't really see Rex wearing something like that. So maybe Ahsoka, who knows? But yeah, that's my thought. It was Bail Organa. So overall thoughts on the end of the episode, you know, Hunter giving the intel over, seeing that hologram. Any idea or theories who you think it is?
I think Hunter knows that Sid is shady, because especially by that, want to give it to the right hands. And so he trusts these two people that he just met, now that like they were antagonists against each other and then they joined up to escape that facility. He trusts them more than he trusts Sid. So that really tells you something about Sid. And maybe Sid is a great person, is gonna be a great person throughout, and he just is judging her wrong. But it's really making me think, nah, Sid is shady, and Hunter knows this. And then I honestly was on the same train. I was like, is that Bail? I was like, because it said him. You see just the shoulder. There's no speaking, so it's not like last week where oh, we know who that is because of the voice. It was very much of a, who could that be just by the shoulder? So I think it's probably Bail or someone like Bail. But yeah, I'm just excited to see who it is. I hope we see who it is next episode. And excuse me. Yeah, because Rex definitely would not be in that nice of clothing. And I don't, it could be Ahsoka if she's taking on Fulcrum, because I think they reference Fulcrum as a him, even though it was Ahsoka the whole time in Rebels at the very beginning. So I don't know who it is, but it'd be interesting if it's Bail. I hope it is.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, Jimmy Smets as well, like I said, Latino. So that would be a nice, smart tie-in, I feel like, or good coincidence to have that, or good kind of thing that they could use. Yeah. And the other Fulcrum shot was, of course, it was also Agent Callis was also a Fulcrum as well. So maybe something like that. I know it's a bit early for that because of where we see that happen in Rebels, but potentially. But yeah, that's obviously a bit of a long shot. But yeah, overall reviewing the episode, I feel like it was a fun episode, very action heavy, especially the last half. The story not massively moved forward, but I felt it did move forward as opposed to a side quest or side adventure, which we've had the last few weeks. I felt like, yeah, it was kind of a necessary arc moving forward. So yeah, that was fine. Obviously Wrecker's injury was the main, and his kind of fear of heights. I thought they were the main things to come out of the episode. The mysterious character at the end, of course, I think it's Bail Organa. I mean, I wouldn't like, that seems like the obvious choice. I would like it to be a completely random person.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I don't know who exactly, but that would be cool. Yeah, and I thought it was a good episode. That I felt like the technical stuff in this episode was cool. Like you said, very Attack of the Clones-esque, but like the animation I thought was cool in the factory, and the lighting. You know, there's lots of kind of weird lighting in this factory. You know, with the they're being kind of melted down. I did notice the technical. Yeah, I noticed the technical plus the droids, and coming in and out of kind of passageways and doors opening in a dimly lit factory. I did notice all the subtleties of that. So yeah, it looks like a very technical episode, plus the action stuff. Yeah, so I did enjoy it overall. I don't know if I was to rank it, maybe 6.5, maybe 7. But yeah, it was definitely more interesting, plot wise, tie-ins, characters from the Clone Wars. Felt like a Clone Wars throwback a little bit. So yeah, lots of mystery still, lots of things to tie up and get into further. But yeah, looking forward to it. But overall, your review, please, on this episode.
Yeah, like I said before, it is another let's go to this planet and do this mission, but it felt very different from the last 2 episodes.
More important this time.
It was more important, definitely. And also we have that very end of like, who is that person? There's more implications that happened in this episode for the future, whereas the past 2 were kind of like, they weren't filler, but they felt like filler, kind of. So it was very much of like, okay, we're moving the story forward. We're seeing what's wrong with Wrecker. We're meeting like probably the start of the rebellion with the Martez and whoever they're speaking to at the end. We have Omega learning to be even more part of the Bad Batch. She even learned the lesson of just honing in and not letting distractions to be able to use her bow properly by the end of the episode. So I would probably put this at a 7.5, because it was definitely, I would say, better than the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I felt it was definitely more important. It was more fun, I felt. Like the action was more dramatic, and what's going on was Wrecker, and them trying to get out with the kind of with the droid stuff situation, and you're suspecting of Sid stuff. So yeah, a lot more interesting things definitely this episode. But that's it, everybody. That's another episode review of the Bad Batch. So we'll come back again next week, of course. Drop in your comments like you guys have been doing. Please like the video, of course, subscribe, and yeah, give us your thoughts on the episode, where you think it's going, who was that reveal. Let's get your shouts in early, and we'll maybe shout some out next episode if you drop them in early enough. But yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you all next week.